and about a dozen other students, that's first Sunday, Vanville Baptist Church bus came to collect us, and we headed to the church. We arrived and headed to Sunday school, and that went without any hitch, and no miscue of any kind. At the end of Sunday school, we proceeded into the sanctuary. Do I still have 2 seconds? Proceeded into the sanctuary. The sermon was preached, the hymns were sung, and the prayers were prayed. And as was the practice, and it still is in Southern Baptist churches, at the end of the service, guests and people who might be inclined to become members are then invited in front of the congregation. So practically all of us who had come from Mercer and a few other people who were considering becoming members lined up in front of the congregation. And it was a mere formality. The church usually welcomes you enthusiastically. So Reverend Moore then told everybody to go back to their seats except me. Then he proceeded to introduce me. We're honored today to have in our midst a young man who has come to know to the faith through our own missionary effort. His name is Sam, at which point a man jumped to his feet. Reverend Moore, I'm not going to sit here and watch you destroy this church by bringing niggers into the congregation. When he was done, a woman stood up. I've interacted with white people in Africa, back home before, but I've never seen a white person turn red. This woman was all red in the face. I think it was either her great-grandfather or grandfather, helped to found Vanville Baptist Church. And Reverend Moore, you're about to destroy it, and I'm not going to stand for it. She spoke. And then another man got up. Spoke in the same vitriolic vein. And remember, pastor is behind me. I'm in front of the pulpit, so I am taking all of this panoramic view of the entire congregation. At which point, Reverend Moore said, and those of you who are Baptists probably know that the Southern Baptists pride themselves on being democratic, just like Jesus was with the disciples, right? Every important issue, Jesus used to call this, let's take a vote, right? Nonsense. It never happened. So, but the Southern Baptists have discovered this thing called democracy. Let's put the matter to a vote. Those in favor of Simon membership, please raise your hands. The hands went up. All opposed, raise your hands. The hands went up. And remember, the pastor behind me, we had a panoramic view. And it was clear that a slim majority favored my membership. But the diehards wouldn't give in. So, the vote was taken the second time. Again, with the same result. But the diehards won't give in. So, Reverend Moore said, let's have a standing vote. Bleeding heart ceremony. My heart really begins to feel sorry for those people who, like Amber, who were voting like that, now have to stand up and actually be seen. So, those in favor stand up. Those opposed stand up. And finally, the diehards had to throw in the towel. And as I say, tongue-in-cheek, that was how I was warmly, enthusiastically, lovingly embraced into a Christian fellowship. My first Sunday, among the same people who sent Reverend who? Thomas Bowen to my people 112 years previously. So the question was post-integration, yeah. So my problem, my crisis of faith was my problem. On campus, it was there. Loneliness was there, but it was a loneliness that was exacerbated by the test of my faith, such as what Reverend Forrester brought to you, and then my encounter at Vineville Baptist Church. And in addition to that, Amber, in addition to that, I'm a very political animal. I mean, you remember that I was reading about the civil rights movement, and so very much aware of what was going on in civil rights here, and that was when when I arrived, was when things began to really go crazy in the area of civil rights. First of all, we were a British colony in Nigeria and also in Ghana, or the Gold Coast. And we learned all we needed to know about the British and how great their heroes were and all that, with the exclusion of any other culture. We didn't even know. I didn't even know about Africans being brought here as slaves, brought to the New World as slaves. So, that was the reason why. So my arrival, the first American president I came to, people of my generation came to know, was JFK. Actually, it was November 1963.
Yeah.
What was that, 50-something years ago? 52 years ago? Whatever, you are the mathematicians.
He's a mathematician.
Yeah. It was a devastation. Yeah. It's murder. And it was one shock wave after another like that. Anybody heard about the 4 little girls at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama?
Yes. The bombing of the church.
4 little girls after Sunday school, which was apparently held in the basement of the church, were getting ready to go upstairs for the Sunday morning service, when a Ku Klux Klan member tossed a bomb and wiped out 4 little girls. And I'm going through all this, the challenge of my faith, the test of my faith, and what I had come to accept without question about America and America's greatness and Schwerner, Goodman, Cheney, 3 civil rights workers in a place called Philadelphia. Anybody knows what the word Philadelphia means?
Brotherly love.
Brotherly love. The city of brotherly love. These 3 civil rights, they were voter registration. Now, what you need to be asking yourself is, as children, you pledge allegiance to what? To the flag, United States of America, one nation under God, with what?
With liberty.
Liberty and justice for all. Liberty, and every morning you repeated that. Why? A segment of that citizenry had to then fight to exercise their right in this modern cradle of democracy. So they were engaged in voter registration in the state of Mississippi, and they were captured by Ku Klux Klanners. They were murdered and their bodies tossed into a ravine. I can go on, and so I'm dealing with all of that, and I'm asking myself, is this the same America that I had known about, that I learned about, and of course after the death of Ku Klux Klan, in case you didn't know, had a symbol. What was the symbol of the Ku Klux Klan?
Cross.
The cross.
Yeah.
The cross. And there's been much talk about terrorism in the past few days. Paris, yes. Ku Klux Klan used to take the cross, the symbol of the Christian faith, and plant it in the front yard of a black family and set it alive as an object of terror. And many of the Christians who are running around these days